Two
Oh,
times the
so
bottom
that,
of Lamed Chesem Beis, yeah?
yeah.
Okay, so now we continue, you're recording, yeah? We continue with the dinam of Macha, right? So, Hechi Domi Macha. How do you make a Macha, right? So, Amar Rav Zvid, Planya Gazalnahu Loy Havi Macha. If all you do is scream and yell and say Pliny is a crook, that's not a Macha. But Planya Gazalnahu, Tenakila La'ari Begaslanusa, but if he says that Pliny is a crook and he stole my land, and then the next day, he says, and tomorrow, I'm sorry, I'm gonna bring him into din. Yeah, come back in like half hour, yeah. And then the next day I'm gonna bring him to din. That's a macha. Havi macha, that's a macha. Right? Because he told everybody that he's not only is a crook, he stole my land. Right? And therefore it's and he's showing legitimate things. Now the Rashbam says the Rashbam has a couple of pshatim here, but the Rashbam says in the first pshat that it's not. He doesn't have to say that last part that tomorrow I'm going to take him to din. As long as he says that Pliny is a crook and he's in my field, then he's out. I just wonder if he says, let's say he doesn't say Pliny's a crook. He just says this guy's in my field. That does that work? Meaning the Gemara says if he says he's a crook, if he doesn't say he's in my field, that's no good. So what about the opposite? He says he's in my field. He doesn't call him a crook.
He says the guy has my field. So who says anything's wrong with that? I'm coming to protest that, saying he stole it.
Right. So he's saying that that should be a good macha.
He has to say it.
He has to say he's a Gazan. We can't figure that out.
No, what? We can't figure out anything because we have no one has a star. We don't know anything.
Why does he need to be a Goslin? Let it be that he's in my field. The fact that he's saying that it is my field is a macha, no?
Right, that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, and don't they have to paskin? He's a godlin first. That would be a shiloh that would go to Bezdin. Is he stealing? Not stealing? Whatever. That also. But besides that, which I thought about that for the last few weeks. But the person who decides he's a goslin, somebody has to paskin he's a goslin, not just assume it because this guy said he stole.
I'm not paskining it, but he stole my field. That's what happened.
Right, so it's asking the question here: is it called a mecha? All right. So if just calling a guy a murderer or calling him a this, calling him a that doesn't. Why should that have an effect on it being a mecha? Not the fact that he says it's my field. That sounds like where
does
enough.
Right, but the Gemara's mashma not like that. The Gemara's mashma has to say both.
I understand. That's the problem. I think that might be a problem. I feel it's problematic, you know.
Where does he make this meicha?
It has to be in front of two. We had that already. But it's Ne'edim. We're going to get to there. That's today's daf, no? In front of two, in front of three,
yeah, how you make the macha. Yeah, we got it's taka major daf tonight. Let's get going because we got to spend time on that. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm not sure if he just says he's in my field, is it considered a macha or not? But okay, Amra. So that's it. So that's the second line down. Amar. So now the Gemara goes through 4 cases where maybe is it considered a good macha or not. Amar loy same rule mai. If the one making the macha, meaning the supposed homeowner, says don't tell him about it. I'm making macha, but he tells the edim, don't tell him about it. So what's the din? So he said, don't tell him. So if you don't tell him, if he's making a macha and he's not telling him, so then what kind of macha is that? So Papa Amar So he says what he means is don't tell him yourself, but you can go tell other people. Oh, by the way, Reuben made a macha on Shimon. Just don't go tell Shimon. I guess maybe he doesn't want him to tell Shimon straight up because Shimon will go crazy and maybe shoot him or something like that, right? But tell other people you're allowed to. Oh, how's he going to find out about it? From the niggin of the month. We could call this the niggin of the month, our captain. Right? This is not the niggin of the day. Right? This is a right.
Very good.
Yeah, Chavra Islay, Chavra the Chavra Islay.
I always
Because everybody.
I can't. See, since that night, I can't get Daddy out of my head.
That's right. It's good. It's good. Yeah, I
Just
played
created
it
a new
kids.
category, Song of the Month.
Yeah. So anyway, so he's saying because the Chavra has a friend and the Chavra has a friend. Fine. Okay, that's case number one. Amrulei lo yamrinon le. If the witnesses say so, the first case is the one making the macha says don't say anything. Here, this case is the Adam say we're not going to tell him. So Rav Zvid haka amrulei lo yamrinon le. Why should it work? He says you already said don't tell him. What they says, we're not going to tell the guy, the squatter. Lachrini, Amrilu, but the others we're going to tell. And then Chavra Islay, Chavra the Chavra Islay. And then it'll get known. Fine. Amralahu, if he says them, this is the one that, well, let's see. If the one making the machas is like Seifil Hushusa, don't let it go, like it should not come out of your mouth. Right? It's meaning the previous cases we said, it means don't tell the person, the squatter, but he could tell other people. Here he says, don't say anything. So Rav Zvid, he said, no, nothing should come out of your mouth. So then how is the guy ever going to find out about the macha? I said, so that's it. So then, I'm sorry, that third one, Rav Papa doesn't have a timer. Right? So Mamela, it sounds like on that third one, it's taka not a macha. Fourth case is back to it being a macha, right? If the Adam said, we're not going to say anything out of our mouths. Here actually Rav Papa says, oh, it's not going to work. They said they're not going to say it. Anything that wasn't told to a person to not say, he's going to end up saying it, and it's meaning without knowledge, meaning he's going to say it subconsciously. He's going to end up saying it, right? Meaning, unless the people are told, this is a secret, and don't say anything, which here they voluntarily said we're not going to say anything. So, meaning if they weren't told that it's confidential, don't say anything, then they're going to end up. Not saying it. I'm going to end up saying it, right?
La halacha, is it mutter for them?
What?
La halacha, is it mutter to say something that someone told you?
Confident. You're talking about in this case?
Even if he doesn't say, no, stam.
I'm not sure what you asked.
I think you said previously, a bunch of times, that if someone tells you something, even if he doesn't say it's confidential, you're not supposed to repeat it.
You're not supposed. That's rechilus. You're not supposed to. But we have people in what do you call it? Subconsciously end up saying things.
So what does this meicha mean? What's the difference between doing that and saying in my shower? What's the difference? If nobody's supposed to tell anybody about it, and nobody's supposed to tell this guy, so good. So you said it's yours, guys. So good. So he can't sue you for libel. I mean, what is going on? How does that get you back your land? What? You tell your wife the guy sold $1,000 from me. So good. So you and your wife know. What does that do to get the $1,000 back? Garnish.
Rabban, who says there's a machlokes whether you're allowed to tell lashon hara to your wife too?
So good. You told her to in a song. You were singing a love song to her, and you put that line in that the guy stole it.
No love songs to your wife. The Rabbanim
so she shouldn't get right. So she shouldn't get. She shouldn't get like Sarach Machasha told Yaakov Avinu.
Baron, you have to push all love songs past the Rabbanim and Muncie before you do anything of the sort. Okay. Anyway, no, you're supposed to say. I think it's a tayelis. No,
but nothing happens. On one hand, you say they can't tell anybody, but on the other hand, you say cover the chavisle. So that's a stira. That's mamash stira. You just told Gershon the guy's over Rechila, so why is he telling anybody for? Well, the guy's at Erlachid, he shouldn't tell anybody. So good, he heard this guy made a mecha in front of him by Mincha.
If you didn't tell him not to tell anyone, that's a secret.
Anybody.
That's the thing. If you tell them not to tell anyone, then they tell everyone.
Well, who said they say? What happened to Rav Steinman? Now everybody's a sheikh except for Steinman. All the Yidden are shkotzim, and all the mitzvahs of Lashon Hara Rechilas, nobody keeps it till the Chafetz Chaim was born 150 years ago. Before that, everybody was a sheikh. It's only the Chafetz Chaim was a tzaddik. Well, what are you people talking about? The Dardeya and all the body who lived together with Amorim at the time, they were all shkotzim. Only the Chafetz Chaim and Rav Steinman, they're the only two Elechim in the past 3,000 years. What are you people are saying ridiculous things?
No, you're supposed. The point of the machaz you're supposed to say. Why in these cases the guy said not to say? I have no idea.
But nobody's supposed to say. You just said it's rechilas. You yourself said it's rechilas to say something over. Then the Gemara says chaver the chaver the chaver the chaver for 900 chavers islay. Well, you're not. Nobody's supposed to say anything. They're under rechilas. But in 5 minutes, the whole Bells and base measure 6,000 people know all about it. They're shkotzim or they're doing the right thing.
No, it's there. Well, yeah, that's a problem that I have, and I think we have with this whole thing. How do you say chaver chaver nisle, and then on through the other side of your mouth say, don't yenterai, right? How do we?
Won't the rest of today's daf help us out with that?
You know what, Ovid? We got to get there first to figure it out.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying, well, if we finish today's daf, won't we have more clarity in this Lashon Hara Rechilas aspect?
No, we're going to try. We're going to try. We're going to try, but don't expect clarity. When's the last time you got clarity?
I don't know. It's whatever. It's a word that came out. I don't know.
You're right. Let's hope. You're right. You're a better man than me because you have hope. I'm already miyayish, right? But we could try. But the point of the macha is that yes, the rechilas gets out. The rechilas does get out. That's what it's supposed to be, right? Yeah. But anyways, Rabbi Shua is saying this rule, which I don't. He's saying a rule in psychology. He's saying if you don't tell people to keep something confident, right? Confidentiality, is confident the right word? No, confidential, right? If you don't tell them to keep it confidential, they're going to slip, which I don't understand because nowadays, even if you tell them confidential, I think fakir, if you tell them to keep it confidential, then they have a taiva to say it.
That's what Naftali just said.
I'm saying, right. So I don't know if that changed from this star to last star. I don't know. Okay, well, let's see the next Gemara. Amar Rav Nachman, macha shele b'fanav havi macha. Rav says name of Nachman that a macha not in front of him is considered a macha. So Eisvei Rav Nachman, Amar Rav Yehuda, lo yamru shalosh shanim ela kidei shiyu baspamya. Right, we said that the whole thing for 3 years for chazaka is if somebody's in Spain, v'yachzik shana. So then the guy has to be in the field for a year. V'yelchu v'yadiu shana. It takes a year to go tell him. V'yavel shana acher. It's going to come for another year. And if you say that a machon in front of him is not a machon, why does he have to come back from Spain? Just sit on the beach in Spain. I don't know if Spain has beaches, but let him sit over there and he makes his machon and eventually chavra chislei. Right? Meaning the whole point is that a macha and not in front of him works because we assume people are going to yent, right? Okay, so then why do we have this whole cheshbon 3 years from Spain? Well, it's Hasam Eitz Toiva Kamashmalan. Yeah, Enochanami. They're in the Mishnah. It's an Eitz Toiva. The Nesiv Nishkal Aro Peri. Come back here and get your land and your payers, because if you don't come back here, this guy's going to take your field and you're going to lose it forever. Meaning, so now we're saying that the Mishnah is not telling you halacha that has to be 3 years. Right? It could just be instant, but but you should tell the guy to come back so that he might lose his field, right? So Gemara says, Rav Nachman. This that Rav asked the kasha Rav Nachman, so it must be that he doesn't hold of this din of machash lebefanav as a macha. I mean, if Rav is asking this kasha to Rav Nachman, right? So then it has to be, he holds that it's not a good macha. But we learned in yesterday's daf that a macha not in front of him is a macha. So Basra de Shama Rav Nachman Savra. So it says what Rava heard from Rav Nachman, that Rav Nachman holds that it is a macha. Then Rava changed his mind. Right? Rava changed his mind to go like Rav Nachman. Fine. Ashkechinu Rav Yosef Rav Chanina, the Talmid of the Rav Yochanan. Rav Yosef Rav Chanina, he found some Talmid of Rav Yochanan. Amar Lahu, Mi Rav Yochanan Macha Bekama. Did Rav Yochanan ever say how many people have to be at the macha? So Rav Chia bar Abba said Rav Yochanan said 2. Macha is in front of 3. So if you think that we have problems nowadays, what did Rabbi Yashav hold? Rabbi David Feinstein hold? Rabbi Moshe hold? They did it back then too. We've said it many times. You got 2 Amirayim, each one talking in the shame of Rabbi Yochanan. One said 2, one said 3. Right? So Lema, but the Rabba bar Rav Huna Kamifli, and this is one of the more famous Gemaras. Let's say what they're arguing in Rabba bar Rav Huna. Dama Rabba bar Rav Huna, Kol Milsa de Misamra ba'apit Tlasa. Anything that's said in front of 3 people, right? Antom and Beis now. Less ba mishum lishnabisha. Lishnabisha is a code word for lashon hara, like lashon bisha. Bisha means bad. Lashon hara, right? Anything that's said in front of 3 people doesn't have lashon hara. Why? Because it's going to get out there. Once 3 people know about it, it's going to get out there. This is one of the most misunderstood halachas of Hilchos Lashon Hara. First of all, Lishna Bisha can mean Rechilus. It could also mean Lashon Hara. Right? One thing is for sure. Right? One thing is for sure, that the person saying the Lashon Hara, is over on Lashon Hara. That's not a question. Meaning you can't decide to say Lashon Hara because there's 3 people there. Right? That doesn't work. Yeah. So what the way most poskim say it is that the din of Rechilus, which Rechilus is not Lashon Hara. Rechilus is just Yenteraying. Meaning Rechilus is what we're talking about here. You're telling somebody, oh, by the way, this guy made a macha on this person whose field it is. Right? So that's just right. So the pshat is rechilus is that you're spreading gossip. So memela, once 3 people know about it, then we could assume that the gossip's going to spread. So therefore, meaning, let's say you're not one of the 3 people. Yeah. So then you go and tell it to somebody else. That somebody else is eventually going to find out about it. So therefore, that would not be considered rechilus because they're going to find out about it anyways. Even though nobody here is tzaddik, right? Nobody is a tzaddik. Nobody should be talking about anybody's business. But we're saying since 3 people know about it, so they know about it. Okay, so the point is that if you say that you need 3 people here, right, in order to make the macha, so then that's understood to be like Rav Rav Huna. If you tell it to 3 people, then they'll tell everybody. But if you hold, so let's see. The Gemara says, the one who says you say it in front of 2, less pay the Rav Rav Huna. He doesn't hold the Rav Rav Huna because 2 people will spread it also. The one that says in front of 3 does hold the Rav Rav Huna. So bottom line is there's many approaches how to understand this Gemara. Under no circumstances, that's l'chol deis, does somebody have a right just because Lashon Hara was said in front of 3 people? Does that give anybody a right to go say Lashon Hara to anybody else? That's for sure, right? But either way, that's what we have here. So when it says Lloyd, the Kuliyam is the Rav Rav Huna. Everybody holds a Rav Rav Huna that it's 3. What's the machlokes? The one that says in front of 2, because macha shaloi b'fanav lo yavi macha. A macha that's not in front of him is not a macha, right? So meaning, it has to be in front of the person that's in the field, right? So if it doesn't have to be a macha, so then you don't need you don't need 3 people. You really don't even need 2 people. He holds a macha not in front of his macha, so therefore you need 3 people because you want that macha to be made in front of as many people as possible, which we'll see in a minute. Or you could say the kuli a macha shaloi b'fanav havi macha. A macha shaloi b'fanav is a macha. What's the machlokes? Mandam b'fnei beis savar, the one that says you take macha in front of 2 sadusa beina, because you need edus. It has to be edim, meaning you need edus to say that he made a macha. You don't. Edus is not enough. It needs to be a gilui milsa, and the way you have a gilui milsa is you do it in front of 3 people. Right? Okay. So then the Gemara continues. Gildu bar minyume havalei machyusa lemachuye. So Gildu bar minyume had a macha to make him. He had a macha to make. Ashkechinu l'Rav Huna l'Chia bar Rav l'Rav Chelkia bar Tuve. So he found 3 people. He found Rav Huna, Rav Chia bar Rav, Rav Chelkia bar Tuve. Yasvi umacha come out. They were sitting, and he made a macha in front of them. Right? So the Rashbam points out that don't bring a raya from this Gemara that it's 3 people, that you need to make a macha in front of 3 people. Happens to be the story was that he found 3 people, but really 2 people is enough. L'shana, next year, Hadar Asal Machuye. He came to make a macha again. Amrulay said, I told him, Laitrichas, Hachi, you don't need it. So Laitrichas, you don't need it. Hachi Amarav, this is what Rav says, Kivan Shemicha, Shana Rishaina. Since he made a macha in the first year, shuv ein etzarach limchos. So you don't have to make a macha. So according to this Gemara, is also you say this din in the din of a macha. It's 1 macha per 3 years. Yigadamri amar lechi barav kiven shemicha shana rishayna. Since he made a macha shana rishayna, shuv ein etzarach limchos. You don't need to make a macha. So amar reish lakish mishum bar kapara v'tzarach limchos b'sayv kol gimel v'gimel. But let's say the guy decides to sit in the thing for 6 years. So you need to make a macha after the first 3, and then you need to make a macha after the next 3. So Gemara asked, Tiba Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan was asking, does a gazlan have a chazaka? Right? Meaning, why do you have to go another 3 years? Yeah? Meaning, you already made your macha. Right? So what are you saying? He said the first time he goes there and he says it, so then he made a macha, which means, now again, what do we say? What's pshat macha? Because a guy could say, after 3 years, I threw away my shtar. That's what we said way back on the first time in the Chizkes about. A guy says, after 3 years, nobody came to me. Why should I hold on to my paperwork? It wasn't like nowadays, you can easily hold on to your paperwork. He says, why should I hold on to my paperwork? Nobody made a macha. So now you're coming to make a macha. Right, now you're coming to make a macha, right? It doesn't. After 3 years, I didn't hold on to my papers. Yeah.
I take off my tzitzit on the shirt at night and put on a t-shirt. Is that bad to do?
It's better to keep on your tzitzit, but
even though it's at night.
Yeah.
For real?
I'm just telling you, it's better to. You don't do whatever you want.
I'm gonna get a mitzvah at night.
Yes.
Even though I'm changing.
Yes. Anyway, so
tell him for real. You're not joking. Yeah. For real. Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So anyway, so he's saying that once you made the macha, so now even if the guy holds on to it for 10 years, once a macha was made, then he should have held on to his paper. Why didn't you hold on to your paper? I made a macha. Right? So Gemara says, Gazlan Sagda, you think this guy's a Gazlan? Right? He didn't say that the guy, meaning all he did was make a macha. He didn't try him in court and that he was considered a Gazlan. He just said, you're a Gazlan. I think you're a Gazlan. So you can't call him a Gazlan. Ela ki Gazlan. Yesh loy chazaka. So now what the Gemara clarifies. It means he's like a Gazlan and he has a chazaka. Why do you have to go after him every 3 years? So Marava, Hilchas Sarach Limchais B'Sayf Kol Gimel V'Gimel. But the halacha is that you do need to. Even though we have this kasha, you need to make this macha every 3 years. Okay, so we'll stop. We'll stop over there. Pretty short stuff. Hashem. So anyway, so again, I don't know what the din is. If this chavra islay is that pashat dazach, is that just a fact of the matter that people are going to talk, or is it a good thing? Now, l'chayra, it's a tayelis, that's for sure. When people are talking in the same, by the way, you got to let people know that this guy's in the field. If you're doing it for the right reasons, then it's a tayelis, which tayelis we know. There's no lashon hara when it is with tayelis. The problem is you have to have a legitimate tayelis, which I'm not so sure people have in many situations. It seems like the only time people are makbid on lashon hara is when it comes to shidduchim, right? Unfortunately, right? But you said when lashon hara is lashon hara. Yeah, 5 minutes from now you're going to go say lashon hara on this guy. You're going to rip him to shreds. Somebody asked about shidduchim, whatever. But anyways, but the main din is that it is a tayelis. So if it's a tayelis, then you're allowed to say. So there is a tayelis to make sure a guy doesn't lose his field, right? Okay, so we'll stop over there. Let's say a tillim.